States rank among the worst for poor children. That comes from a new in-depth study by Wallet Hub.
They found Mississippi was the second worst in the entire country, and Arkansas also made the bottom 10. Tennessee runs in the middle of the pack. Katherine Baldwin is with the Urban Child Institute, and your organization does nothing but work for the benefit of young children. There's some simple ways we can turn this around, right?
Well, yes, we know that these are big issues, and poverty follows generation after generation in many cases. But our message really is that there are simple things that, especially done in the earliest years of life, can lay a foundation for future success and help children as they go into the school years and the early school years and high school years and adulthood, that they are better prepared for life and more likely to be able to succeed in careers and
climb out of that.
Climb out of it. Yes, exactly. And those simple things are actually touch, talk, read, and play. That's what we try to get out into the community and remind everyone that these are the very simple things that babies and young children need every day to have their brains grow optimally and be ready for school. And then all the programs and services we have in Memphis that help children as they reach school age and beyond will have an exponential impact if we can get them really ready to go in the early years. And so touching is things like touching baby's cheek, looking in baby's eyes, stroking them. That all activates the brain in positive ways. Hugging little children, they need hugs every day. Talking is how children learn vocabulary. So we find that some children show up for kindergarten with thousands of words less that they've heard over the first 4 years of their lives than other children. And then we expect the teachers to try to catch that up, and it's really not fair. And it's not the fault of the parents, that it's just they don't necessarily know that speaking in 5-word sentences helps a child hear more language. Describing the environment around you when they're little, even before they're talking, helps them hear the words that they need to hear to build their own vocabulary. Reading obviously comes into play for some of the same reasons, but one of the things that we want to help people understand is for social emotional development and optimal attachment in early years, holding a baby and reading a book or just holding something in your hands, a magazine or anything, that creates a positive connection in the brain to the idea of reading. So in other words, a baby who's been read to every night, when they see a book in another setting, they associate a positive feeling with that object because they've experienced over and over that nurturing that happens when a baby is sitting in a parent's lap. These are all things that are based on science. The last one is play, which we know children love to do, but it's not just giving a child some toys. It's getting down on the floor and playing with the child, crawling around, being silly, playing peekaboo if it's a baby, or helping a child play pretend when they're a 2 or 3-year-old, because this is the time when their imagination and their creativity needs to be really enhanced so that when they go to school, they're ready for things like science.
Hey, Katherine, can I ask you about delayed gratification? Because, you know, we hear, like you put your child's food down and you make them wait. That's got a big correlation when they're a teenager about, maybe making bigger choices.
Right.
About more, delaying the gratification of the immediate to later.
You must have read the marshmallow.
Well, I've spoken to people there before, and that was one of the things that surprised me. It's a very cool concept. Can you tell us about that?
Well, it basically is the idea that having routine, and that's where that can come from in the earliest years, is establishing a routine that helps children know that, for example, especially around food, and this is where poverty and food insecurity comes into play a little bit too. I mean, some children don't have to worry about where their next meal is or where their next snack is, and so it's easier for them to wait, right? If mom says we need to wait until 6:30 to eat, that child knows that at 6:30 they're going to have a plate of food, right? Other children, the delayed gratification is more difficult because if you're hungry and you have something in front of you, you want to go on and eat it because you don't know if it's going to be there later. So it's something that kind of can build up over time with routine, but also with support so that families are not struggling to provide the basic needs. So you can understand how that could happen.
Touch, talk, and play is simple, not a lot of time,
touch,
and
talk, and read and play. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And since it's so hot, I brought y'all some.
Great.
I brought y'all some fans.
Appreciate it. Well, thank you for being with us.
We will link to the Urban Child Institute's website so you can get more ideas for your kids. Thank you.